go back up here. All right, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for joining me today. I have something that we're going to do that's a lot of fun. I don't know how many of you have done these glass blocks before. I haven't done one yet, so this was a good one for Jean Freda to give me to do today. So let me move this right out of my face. Here we go. So let me have a sip of my coffee. As you can hear, my voice is always kind of scratchy. I don't know, maybe when I talk so much it just gets itchy. Okay, again, welcome and thank you for coming. Let's look down at my table over here and see the supplies that I'm going to be using today. So let's go here. And here are the supplies that I'll be using today. And I'm just going to cut this on my Cameo because it's closest to me. My Cricut is over there, but it would be the same thing with either machine. So obviously, well, yeah, we'll start with that. Obviously, we need the glass block. Excuse me, and I've already taken this glass block outside and sprayed it with this frosted glass finish. I had to do a lot of sprays of it to get it to be coated like this nicely. And you really want to do this, I think, for the blocks, because if you don't, these little lights are going to show through weirdly. And I like them to just kind of show as lights rather than having the wires show up. So I also, my sister, Jean Freda, also got me the battery pack thing and the lights that are going to go inside of it. And let's see, what else do we need? We need some vinyl. And what I'm going to use here is I'm using removable vinyl because I want to be able to take this off and maybe change it to something else. And I could actually change it up for different holidays or something like that. I'm hoping I can take it off of this kind of brushed finish. And like I said, this is Cricut removable. So I have something to measure with. I have my pin pen from Troy. It's 651 vinyl. Although I understand that you can make these yourself with what they call mechanical pencils and a pin and make one yourself. A weeding tool, some scissors, and of course a squeegee and my mat. So now let's, and your alcohol, because I did use the alcohol first to clean the block before I took it outside and sprayed it with this. So let's go over to Silhouette, and I'll show you what I'm going to put on here, because I've already played with it a little bit, because I don't want to be any more terrible surprises from Jean Freda. So this is what I've decided to make, and actually what she had wanted me to make, she gave me two options. She wanted me to make one that says Welcome Winter, but I thought, I don't know. I just didn't feel like Welcome Winter, so I decided to do something a little Disney-ish, and so I decided to just do Tinkerbell. And then Tammy found this nice little quote from Tinkerbell: "Laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, and dreams are forever." And I really, really like that quote. So I decided to use that. So what did I do? All I did was went on to Google and found a Tinkerbell. And I should have saved that page to show you. Maybe I'll try really quickly to see if I can get there. Hang on one sec. I'm going to go to Google and I'll send you there. You'll go with me in one sec. I'm just going to type in. Okay, here we go. We're at Google. I'm going to type in Tinkerbell and then hit enter. And you get a whole bunch of stuff like this. As you know, we've done this before if you follow me in my classes. Of course, you can put anything you want to on your glass block, but I'm just going to go to images first. And these are lots of images of Tinkerbell, but then I went up here to settings, tools, and I came over here to the type, and I want it to be clip art. And then I think what I actually did, I should have kept track. I may have changed this from the color being colored to just simply black and white. Let's see if I get the one I got. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there are a bunch of them here. And I'm not exactly sure which one I got. There are a lot of cute ones, but you know what? I'll just grab one for now and just use her. But the only other thing is I might want to make the size be large, because that makes sure that it's not going to get all fuzzy when I go ahead and use it. This one here is really cute. Just going to look through to see if I see the one that I used very quickly. That might be the one I used. So I'm just going to open that one. Okay, look at the jagged edges on that one. That one's really not that great, except for I'm going to use it as just a cut file. But oh, and by the way, while I'm scrolling through here, I thought a fun thing to do on the other side, if I was doing Tinkerbell, was to put Peter Pan on the other side. I thought that'd be kind of cute, and I could switch it around. All right, so anyways, I'm just going to go back and get one of these, and it doesn't really matter, but I'm taking my time again. Let's see what this one looks like. No, sorry, should have saved her. Okay, I'll just do this one. All right, so I just clicked on this one. I'm going to right click on her and say copy image, and hopefully she's going to be able to come in here, and I'm going to right click and say paste. Okay, great, that's perfect. All right, now if I want to do what I did on this one right here, whoops, let me undo what I just did here if you saw it. I'm going to group this stuff together, group, right click and group, move this up like this. And now I'm just going to flip this one horizontally so it's facing the same way that this Tinkerbell here is. So I'm going to right click on her and say flip horizontally. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace her. I'm going to come over here to the trace panel, which is the little butterfly looking thing. Click on that. That opens up the trace panel. Then I'm just going to say select the trace area. So I clicked on that, and then I'm just going to trace it. All right, she traced pretty good just like that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the word trace. And then I can move the box out of the way because I don't really need this any longer. Click on it and delete it with my keyboard. And right off the bat, I noticed something I'm going to get rid of. And if you may have noticed it as well. There's no reason that my machine needs to cut out that little hole right there. So I'm going to double click on this to get the nodes. Click on one of them to make it the active node. And then just hit delete on my keyboard. Notice the node selects the next one in line, and I can just delete these one by one like that. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to scroll back out, and I'm just going to make her black. So I'm going to come up here to the color swatch and make her black. And if I'd like to, I can also change the outline right here and make it black so it doesn't show up as a red line. Okay, there we go. All right, she's really cute. I actually might like her better than the one I used. Huh. Okay, so now I'm going to start doing the text. And I'm not going to size anything yet. And the text that I really like to use, and also, by the way, whatever I'm doing here, other than the tracing, you can do in Cricut Design Space. You'll just have to find an SVG of Tinkerbell if you don't have this program to save as an SVG for your Cricut. But I highly recommend you get this program. If you don't have it, it really helps a lot with your Cricut machine. So many things you can do. Not only tracing Tinkerbell and making your own SVG, but I'm going to show you what I did with this text as well. And like I said, I didn't want to be stumped by this Jean Freda, so I putzed with it a little bit before I met up with you guys. So I'm going to show you something down here on my desk. Here we are down here again. And this is something else that I like that we can do in the business edition for our Cricut machines, or of course for our regular Cameos. So what I did first was I came up with the text that I'm going to use on my screen. Let's see, I wonder if I can do this. Let's see. Hold on one sec. Okay. Okay, so I'm combining these two things. So what I did was I came up with the text that I was going to use, and you see it up here on my screen. And I also just made up the whole thing, and I'm going to go back to that in a minute. But when I made up the whole thing, wait a minute, let's start from the beginning. Sorry, you guys. Here's the thing. You need to get your block out first so you know what size you have to work with. So the first thing that you really need to do is get out your measuring tool and measure how big across your block is or how large of a size you have to work with. And I've decided that I wanted to make mine about 6¼ inches square. Okay, that's what I decided after I made a goof up and did this one first. And I only made this one 5½ inches. And what I did was, and I'm glad I did it, I cut it out of cardstock first. I just did a really fast draft of a print, cut it out, and laid it on my block. And that's when I discovered, you know what? That looks kind of chintzy small. I need to make it bigger. Looks like my thing has frozen. Okay, there we go again. All right, so I needed to make it bigger, so I discovered that that was way too small for this. So that's when I remeasured it and I changed the size. But not only was it too small to fit on this, and I didn't think it looked very good, also, when I went ahead, and let me just go to one picture now, there we go. When I went ahead and cut it, the text was really, really skinny, and it was really hard to read. Look how tiny those letters are. I don't know if you can tell, hopefully. They're really small. So I enlarged this, but I did something else as well. And I'll show you up at my screen in a minute too, or I can show you over at Cricut Design Space the difference. So here it is different. And I'll show you how I made it better. Let's go up to my screen now. All right. So let's go here first, and then we'll run over to Cricut Design Space, and I'll show you the difference there. So this is the what I wanted to say. Laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, and dreams are forever. And now remember I said I had a square that's about 6½ inches. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Let's see. Yeah, I want to do it about 6½ inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is just come here and get a square and draw it out. Then I'm just going to come up here to the sizing area. I'm going to lock the lock. Well, I can't really lock the lock yet because look what happens if I lock the lock now. I'm going to make the width 6.5 and watch what happens to the height. It actually changes automatically too. So I'm going to unlock this lock and make both the height and the width 6.5 inches. Okay, so that's what I have to work with, that amount of area. So we can bring my new Tinkerbell over here, right click and bring her to the front. And you can see she's way too big, so I'll be making her much smaller, like that, maybe. Okay, and so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my words. So laughter is timeless, and I did each one of these lines individually. So I'm going to come over here to the text tool, and I'm going to type in, let me move some of this junk out of my way, laughter, whoopsie, L-A-U-G-H-T-E-R, is timeless. Okay, and I'm going to make it black. Well, I gotta highlight it, and I'm gonna make it black. All right, but I obviously don't want this font. I wanted something much prettier than that. So I went with the one that I always love to use, and that is Samantha Craft. So I'm gonna come over here to the text style panel, click on that, and then I can type in Samantha Craft right here, whoops, and hit enter, and it automatically puts it into Samantha Craft. All right, but the problem was, even when I did it like this, with Samantha Craft, the size that I was making this, and let's bring my little sample over, right click and bring to the front, it really wasn't thick enough, and I don't know if you can tell right now, the difference? Probably not because of the lettering. Let's see. Maybe you can tell if you look at the word is right here and look at the word is here, you can see that some of this is a little bit thinner. And I didn't like it that thin because it was a little bit harder to weed for my purpose of the size I was making it. So what I did, and this is something else you can do for Cricut Design Space, it's nice, is I changed, well, first of all, I highlighted it. I came over here to the offset panel and I added an offset to it. Now that offset is really, really big. I don't want anything like that because, well, let me just show you. If I click here and make that a color so we can see it, let's say purple, and then I take out this word, you can't read that at all anymore. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z and go back. So what I'm going to do when I have my offset here is I'm going to make it really, really small. I'm going to make my offset 0.005 and hit enter. Let's try 0.05. I can't remember for sure. Oh, once I've entered it, there we go. I think this might be too big still. So let's, I think it was the 0.05 because if I take the black part out, look, we can't read that anymore. So that's not what I want either. I'm going to Control Z to go back. And I'm going to change it once again to 0.00. Let's try 9. All right, so you really can't hardly even tell that there's an offset there, but there is. And you can see that the letter S, if I scroll in, is a little bit bigger. This little part right here, can you see how that's a little bit better, a little bit thicker? Like look between the H and the T right here. Notice how that's just a tiny bit thicker. And believe it or not, that makes a difference. Look between the G and the H. See the thinness here? And when you add it here, it does a little bit better. So I'm going to change this to black. This one. And we can probably see it even better if I change it all to black. Okay, yeah, you can really see now, right? So let me change the rest of this to black and you'll be able to tell the difference. Okay, still very readable, right? But much thicker and better for weeding and for little teeny tiny stuff. So let's scroll back out again. The other thing that I did on my original one, let's go undo that. Okay, get rid of this one. The other thing I did on my original one is to make a prettier L. So if we scroll out, you can see this pretty L that we have right here. Look at that, isn't that pretty? So it's easy to change that if you are in Silhouette. Now, I was planning actually to do this in Cricut Design Space, but quite honestly, you guys, I can't perfectly remember how to easily change these letters in the Design Space because I've been using Silhouette for so long. It's doable. Do a Google search on it or a YouTube search. How to use Babblemap or how to use, what are the other ones called? I can't think right offhand. But anyway, to do it here, it's so, oopsie, so easy. So let's see. I'm just going to grab the word laughter. And actually, I'm going to type it in again because I want to start all over again right quick for you guys. So I'm going to type in laughter so you can see how easy it is from the get-go. L-A-U-G-H-T-R is timeless. Okay, there's laughter is timeless. We're going to go ahead and change this to Samantha Craft. And in addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and put an offset around this. But before I do, I think I'll just go ahead and show you how easy it is to change this lettering now. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the L here because that's the one I want to make pretty, right? So we already have Samantha Craft selected here. Now believe me, you can do this with any other kind of font too. Maybe Magnolia Sky has a lot of glyphs. But here's the beauty of doing it here is that you just go up here to the letter G and click on that, and it shows you all the glyphs that are available in the font that you've selected. So since I've selected Samantha Craft, I can go through here and see all the pretty L's. Now right now they're not pretty, right? That's the same one I've used. But if I go down here, so first it has the uppercase letters, then the lowercase, and now I'm going to finally be coming back to the fancy uppercase. Look at these. Oh, and there's this button down here. You can scroll to the right and make them larger so you can see them more easily. So there's an A that's fancier. So you can just go through here and find different ones, different ways. But I'm looking for the L, and obviously these are in alphabetical order. So there's a, hey, KL. Now that's not the one I used. Wait a minute. Were there more? Oh, yeah. I'm going to scroll with this bit thing. Go way down to the L's. Look at those pretty A's. So I'm not scrolling very quickly. There we go. Okay. All right, here we come. Sorry. I, K, right before the M's. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Nightbot. Remember to give the video a thumbs up. Looks like there have been 3 thumbs up, maybe. All right, here's a pretty L. I could use this one if I want to. It's different than the one I used before. But you know, I think I used this one before because I liked how that went under the rest of the word. I'm going to use that one again. So right now I have this L selected. All I have to do is click on this one and it changes it just like that. So the next thing that I want to do is notice, just like in Design Space if you're used to it, look at these cuts. These letters are all going to cut like this, and you're going to have little teeny tiny pieces of vinyl that you're going to have to mess with. So we don't want to do that. So all you have to do is the same thing you do in Cricut Design Space, if you're familiar with that, is just to highlight this thing and say weld. And then you also want to group it together in this program. All right, so here we go with this. But again, I want to make these letters just a hair bit thicker. So I'm going to click on it, come over here to the offset panel, and I'm going to show this a few times. So if you've missed it, you know, we're going to do it on the other lines as well. So I'll say offset, way too big of an offset. I'm going to change it to 0.009. Is that what I decided worked? Try that. Yeah, you can see it barely now. I do this. So I'll change this one to black. I'll change them both to black so you can compare them. Oops, I gotta grab all this and group it again. And I'll change it to black. Okay, so now you can see the difference between these two, I hope. So that made it just a nicer, little bit nicer, thicker line for us. And it works perfectly for what we're using it for, because we're using it very small. All right, let's scroll out. So right now we have the laughter is timeless, and I'll get rid of this one because we don't need it. Imagination has no age. So I'm going to type in imagination has no age. Okay, notice it went on the next line over. That's not a problem. All we have to do is click on this to get that bar back over here. Double click. I can pull the bar out. It lets that go on the line I want it to be on. So now, once again, what I'm going to do is highlight this. I'm going to come up here to the text style panel, click on that, and frequently used or recently used is right here. Here's Samantha Craft. So there we go. Again, I don't remember, did I change the eye? Yes, I did. See this fancy eye that I did on my test one? So I'm going to change the eye on this one as well. To do that, I'll just double click on this, grab the eye by highlighting it, by holding down my mouse key and running, dragging over it. Then I'll come up here. Samantha Craft is still selected. So I can go to the glyphs, scroll down to the capital letter I's. Did I go too far? K-L. Well, these are the lowercase, aren't they? All right, I went too far. So I think the I's just look weird anyway myself, personally, but here's H and here are the I's. What did I go with before? I went with that curly Q one. I actually kind of like, sort of like that one, but I don't know. It sort of looks like a T to me. Okay, so I guess I went with this one. Yeah. So I'll double click on this one, or just click on it once actually. If I double click, I'd put two of them in, and that changed it just like that. So now all I have to do is click on it again, or I could double click to get that bar back, and if I want to I could scroll this in, and then I'm going to grab all this and I'm going to go ahead and weld it. And notice there's all these little boxes around everything, so I do need to also group it. Now I'm going to add the offset. So I'm going to come over to the offset panel, which is a little star with the offset. Click offset, too big, change it again to 0.009, hit enter. And again, we'll be able to check the difference between these two. I'll move this one out, and I'll grab this one and group it. Now I'm just going to change both of them, hopefully, to black. Yeah, and now you can see the difference. See how just a little bit thicker this one is, and it's going to weed so much more easily for me. I had a little bit of trouble because this was so tiny what I'm making for here. I'm going to get rid of this one, delete. All right, we got two more ways to practice. So there's this one and this one. Now dreams are forever. So again, you come over here to the left and get the text tool. Yeah, you like it thicker too. Dreams, Tammy, I do too. Are forever, period. All right, don't really know if I need that period. I'll probably lose it. But, so the next thing I'm going to do is just highlight all of this and then come over to the text style panel here, open it, and again, here's frequently used. You know, I just use Samantha Craft a lot, or here are the recently used ones. So I'm going to click on Samantha Craft, and it changed it automatically. And then I love this D. Isn't that D pretty? Much prettier than this one. So I'm just going to double click on this, do this, highlight the D I want to change, come back over here, and Samantha Craft is still selected. So I can come up here to the glyphs. That's going to show me all the glyphs that are available in Samantha Craft. And if you're not familiar with it, if I go way down here at the bottom, there's all kind of little fancy doodads down here that you can get for Samantha. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so now I need to go find the capital D's again. There are the E's. Okay, so I'm scrolling up slowly because I was afraid I was going to go too far. Wow, I better use this scroll bar a little bit to get up there. A, B, C. Here we go to the D's. All right, looks like maybe the one that I use is that one, but no. The one I used had a little bit prettier swirly dude there. I bet that's it. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So we could use this D, but why not make something really pretty, especially for Tinkerbell, right? D's, dreams are forever. Okay, again, I'm going to grab it. Whoopsie, I'm going to grab it all, right click and say weld. Then I'm going to group it. And now I'm going to offset it. And I don't really know if I really have to do it in that order, but I just do and it works. So if you find another order that works better for you, use that. I'm going to come back over to the star, the offset panel. Offset, I want an external or a regular offset, not an internal one. Hitting my backspace on my keyboard, so it's 0.009, enter. All right, so there we go. One more time after this, there'll be Tinkerbell to do. So since I putzed with this, now I've got to group it again. And I'll change them both to black just so we can see the difference again. And there they are. And get rid of this one. So the last thing I'm going to do is Tinkerbell. So I come over one last time. Tinkerbell, Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell. Okay, so again, we want to change this T to something pretty. I didn't make it really pretty. It doesn't look like over here on the left. But we'll see what other T's there are. I'll come over here to the text style panel. Come up here to the glyphs. Uh-oh, wait a minute. This time, look what the heck? Okay, something weird happened there. I'm not sure why, but look, the glyphs, the text style that we're in right. Oh, I know why. Because I didn't change this to Samantha Craft yet. Okay, so right now this is Arial font, and if I look at the glyphs here, you're going to be like, where are my Samantha fonts? Those aren't pretty letters. That's because we are looking at the glyphs that are within the Arial font, because that's the chosen font right here. I don't want Arial font. I want to go back here. I'm going to go to my frequently used again, or type in Samantha Craft and just click on it. Now, when I come here and I click on my T, look what's still showing up here, Samantha Craft. And if I click on the glyphs, I'll get all those pretty glyphs from Samantha Craft. I'm going to go way down to the capital T's. QRS, whoops, T should be next. That's sort of pretty. I think that's what no, I didn't even use that one. Maybe I didn't even change it. I'm going to change it. Oh, I didn't change it. Look at that. I'm going to change it. Which one? That one or that one? I don't know. Tinkerbell. So you can just try them too. You can just highlight something and try them again. I think I'll just go with that one. That's good enough. Okay, so once again, I'm just going to weld this and group it and offset it by coming to the star. Say offset. Way too big of an offset. Change that by clicking over here. Backspace 009. Enter. So you can barely tell there's an offset there, but there is one. Whoopsie. So now, I guess I'll group this back together first and then change them both to black so we can see again the difference. All right. So this is something you would not be able to do over there in Cricut Design Space, is to take the Samantha font and make it larger like this. And so, let's see, I think I had shown that even over here. Yeah, so this is the one that I had saved. I'm in Cricut Design Space now. This is the one that I had saved larger, the word laughter. And this is the way it would come in automatically. So you can see, even if I try to make it larger, like going like this, it still doesn't work that well. Well, I really can't make it that large because it won't fit on my thing. But you can see, hopefully, the difference between these two. Let me change this one to black. And you can see, this is the way I would have to do it in Cricut Design Space. And this is the way I really want it to be done. Now, we're not necessarily looking at the L because I didn't make it fancy here. I just typed it in over. Oh, and that's why I did it like that. That's right, because I couldn't figure out, I don't remember how to change the L over here. So if you guys remember, you know, and you have a good link to something, let me know. Because all I did was type in, come over here, text, typed in Tinkerbell or whatever. Remember, you have to do it like this in Cricut Design Space too. You have Tinkerbell. The first thing you have to do is come up here for the letter spacing and fix that. So you're happy with that. Okay, so that looks good. Oops. So, but the only thing is, like I said, I don't know how to make this a fancy T. I've forgotten. Sorry. But anyway, all right, let's go back to Silhouette. So really, save your money if you don't have the business edition for your Cricut machine. Save your money and buy it when you get enough money to do so, because it's really well worth it. All right, let me hit delete on this one. So now we're ready to go, finally. So I'm just going to move her over here, because that's the size we have to work with, and start bringing these down here. And see what I'm talking about? I need to make this so much smaller, y'all. So if we were using those little teeny tiny letters, skinny ones, they'd be so small. It would be really, it's really hard to weed it. Move these down. Okay. So this is the piece that we have to work with. It's pretending to be our glass block. And then I would just go ahead and move this one in. Okay, like that. And Dreams are forever here. And I actually think I would like to move her up further, and they can go all the way to the edge because, you know, that's just the size of the glass block we have to work with. So I can move these up further. Whoops, not that. This. All right, so once I have these situated the way I like them, all I did next, if you'll notice over here, is there are stars all over it, and I think that really makes it look cute. So to get the stars, it's easy in either one of these programs. You can just come over here to this little, in this one it's called the Flexi Shapes, the shape tool over in Cricut. Just make some stars. And this one, remember, we can use this little thing to make our stars pointier, or we can use this one to make it have more or less points. So I think the one that I want is just like that. So then all I would do is change this one to black, and then I would just make a bunch of them. So I would just hit Control D on my keyboard a lot of times. So I'm just making a bunch of them by hitting Control and D, and then I can just move these, the size of them, and put them anywhere that I like them to be. So that's pretty much it for this. Whoopsie, didn't mean to do that. Let's just delete that one. So that's pretty much for this. So let me get rid of these and pretend like we have all these stars. So the next thing that I would do is probably move this out, grab all of this and say weld it, and then also just group it. And then if I was working in my Cameo, which is what I'm going to cut it in today, I would just go to Send. Now in my Cameo, because this is shown in the lower right hand corner of my mat, I would have to make sure I have black vinyl down here in the right hand corner of my mat. Let's see, I would just want it to cut the outer edge, which it says. Oh, I got to turn my Cameo on. So it will kind of show up a little bit, trying to reconnect. So I'm going to use vinyl matte, and that's actually what I am going to use. I'm not using HTV or heat transfer vinyl, so there's no need to mirror anything. So vinyl matte, auto cut, and the auto blade, and I'm just going to leave these settings as they are, and then all I would do is hit send. So rather than have you guys have to sit here through this all cutting out, I've already cut it because you probably want to see how to adhere it onto the glass block now. So I've already cut it and I've already weeded it. If you hate that I skipped that spot, let me know next time. But in the meantime, let's go back down here and I'll show you what I've got. So these are the ones that I had shown you earlier. Let me move this over so I can see what you're seeing. Okay. This is the first one that I made, remember? I just printed it and I wanted to see, because I was trying to find out what size I wanted. Decided that was way too small. And then these are the ones I cut out with the vinyl. And you see how small, how tiny that is. And trying to get that up on the transfer tape too was not easy. This is the one where I went ahead and I added the offset. So notice how much better the letters are. They're thicker. But then I got really smart and realized, you know, that's too small. It doesn't add enough oomph to the thing. So then I got really smart and I made one more. And this one I think is just the perfect one. Look at the lettering. It's beautiful. It was easy peasy to weed, really easy. And if you're not sure what weeding means, that means removing the excess stuff that I don't want, the excess vinyl. And now I'll show you how to go ahead and easily put it on here, because I have a few more little things to show you after that. So this was like this. I weeded out all of the excess stuff that I don't want using this weeding tool. When I got, I hope you can hear me okay. Let me move my mic a little bit. When I got to the skinny, tiny little pieces, I went ahead and used the pin pen to get those out. So now I'm ready to put this on here. And I guess I'm going to make, there's a little piece that fits in the top of this. I took it out. It's here somewhere. I guess I'll make that be the bottom. Not sure. No, I'm going to make this be the top of mine, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, as I said, I've not done this before, so I'm kind of ad-libbing. So here it is, ready to go. here's this. I better stand up and make this straight to me. So I'm going to put this on here now. So try to make it straight. Okay, that looks pretty straight. So I'll start pushing it down a little bit with my fingers. It's from the center out. This is called burnishing. I'm burnishing it down. Okay, this is the scary part, you guys. I didn't do this part at all first. Never done it before. And I've never made this stuff stick onto something that I've sprayed. I've done glass things before, by the way. Using vinyl on glass is a lot of fun. This was a cute, you probably can't see the text very well, but this was really cute. I made this last year and had Valentine candy in it. I don't know, you probably can't see that. And then this one I made. So it's really easy to put things on glass, but I wasn't sure about it having this frosted finish on it, so we're trying this together. So let me go ahead and peek. Oh, yay! It's doing well. Sigh of relief. Alright, so now I'm just going to start peeling this up a little bit at a time at an angle, making sure everything's sticking down the way I want it to. If when I'm peeling something doesn't stay down, I would push my transfer tape back. This is the transfer tape. Press it back and make sure that that piece stays down. Look at that. Oh, I lost an I, and it looks like I've already lost an I on the word is. I mean, not an I, but a dot. Keeps coming up. I'm sure I can easily add another dot. And this one just won't stay down. There we go. Oh, I remember why that won't stay down. When I weeded it out and tried to put it back in, and I think I have the sticky part up. Oh, well, I can make more dots. Yeah, perfect. Okay, the only other thing, now you save the transfer tape. You can use this over and over and over again. The only other thing that I might do is take the shiny side of this, that's the backing of my transfer tape, and put this on top and just gently burnish it again, just to make sure that I got everything really well burnished down. Okay, so that turned out beautifully. So now the next thing that I would do is I have these lights. I have two different kinds actually. I had some from Thanksgiving and they had like orange lights in them and it didn't look good at all. So luckily Jean had bought me these. So I obviously haven't had them apart yet because I don't know how to open it. There we go. So I guess you just kind of willy-nilly pull them apart. I don't know. So I'm just going to stick it down in here and let's just see so far what we got. Turn this here, put this in there. I'll hide this behind it. Turn off this light for a sec. Whoa. Can you see that? It's kind of hard to see because of the lighting in here. But you don't have a hard time reading it at all. Even though right here it looks like it's totally too bright. It looks perfect. Really nice. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bow to go on top of this. I'll show you how I make the bows. I have two different kinds. I have this one that's really sparkly. This sort of looks like Tinkerbell, which is what I'll probably use. And then I just made this one just now for the heck of it. By the way, this right here, I love this ribbon. I just bought this yesterday at the Dollar General. If you have a Dollar General near you, and you can find this ribbon, it makes really nice bows. It's the kind that has the wire in it, and it really is nice. And you get so much. Look how much is on that roll. But it was $5, but it's at least 50% off, so $2.50. It was a good deal. So anyway, so what I would do is, the other thing I would like to do is take this. This is what I'm using. Sparkly tool. And I probably would take my sparkly tool and glue it onto here like this. Little hot glue just to hold it into place. just for another little pizzazz thing. It can go on the edges like that. Okay, but right now what I'm going to do to save time, I'm just going to cut this off here rather than getting my glue gun out. And hopefully I made it large enough so I could just tie a little knot right here that you won't see because of my bow. And I could have made it a little bigger and that could have added to the bow. Okay, can you see what I'm doing so far? So I just went around the edges just to cover those up and make it look a little bit more festive. And then this is when I'm going to put this beautiful bow on top. So pretty. As we all know, it's kind of hard to see sparkles and how pretty they look. We know that with our speckles, right, Tammy? Stickles. And so it makes it hard. But let me show you how I make the bow. This is a little tool that Tammy and I have. It's called the Bowdabra. And maybe Nightbot's been telling you what it is. It's the Bowdabra. And the link that he put up there, I hope, is that really inexpensive one. If you're interested in getting this, you can get it really cheaply at that link. I think it's a lot more, at least that's what Tammy and I were finding, at other links. So, and I was all organized. I had a piece of wire. Where'd I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I have wire here, and I just put the wire like this through this thing called the Bowdabra, and just put this underneath here. And if you watched me tie a bow for that Jean Freda wreath that I made, this is pretty much the same technique, except for this thing holds it for you, and you don't have to hold it and be as careful. So I'm just going to undo this, and you should see all the glitter getting all over my table. Now for this piece, since there's not a front and a back like there is on this ribbon, on this one I had to twist it to make the bow. But on this one, you don't have to worry about that. So I can just come push this through here, and then however wide I want the bow to be out this way, I just go back like this. Push that in there, make the same width over here, push this into here. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm just going back and forth, pushing these little loops in here. It's so easy. So I'm scrolling some again. And it's really easy, or if you even have ribbon that's the same on both sides, and you don't have to worry about twisting it in the center. But twisting it in the center isn't that hard either. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth a few times. I actually made my granddaughter some hair bows with this same thing, and they turned out adorable. One of them I made a little too large for her little tiny head. Okay, let's see. How many loops do I have on this side? 1, 2, 3. I like to have the same one now. 3 on that side also. So I can stop right here now. You can take this little piece and you just kind of push it down in just to hold everything in place a little bit more. Then all you do is that wire that you started with. Now, the lady with the Bowdabra, she teaches you a different way to do the wire. I think this works just fine. All I do is do a knot and let it go down through there and tie it really tight. And I actually should have cut off this side, so let me do that now. Okay. Then all you do is take it out of your Bowdabra, and you could finish tying your knot if you want to in the back. That. Then you can just hold it and just fluff out these little pieces, and it's going to make the prettiest bow ever. And you'll be like the queen of bows, bow making, just like that. Oh, this one has so much glitter though. And then just kind of adjust it a little bit if you want. Okay, put that end down there. And of course I'd probably want to cut these ends off so they have a nice little piece, but, and there's the bow. So now we have 2 of them ready to go on something. And this one, if you wanted to see really quickly, the only thing you do different on one like this with double-sided is, well, I don't have a wire in here to show you the final thing, but I would start here with the right side up, and then, well, no, I would twist this right away, put that in there. So I have the right side up here, the wrong side on this side. Then when I come back, unroll a little of this, see the right side's on top, that's what I want. But if I come back like this, the wrong side's going to be on top. So right here, I twist this. I put that little twisty thing down in there. Then this is twisted. So now we have the right side here. And when I come back around here, we'll have the right side again. So I will just twist it again. Boop, like that. So it looks like the wrong side is here, but it's going to come back, right? So I would just twist it again when it gets back over here. Ooh, see how easy that is? Okay, wait, twist it the right way. Let's see, this way. Because I want the right side up over here and the wrong side up on here to begin with. Do you get the idea? That makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, Tammy and I have enjoyed using this Bodabra. And you can get the, all kinds of ribbon cheap at the Dollar Tree. This was from Dollar General, as I said. And this one, I really like using these thick ones with the wire inside. They're so easy to use. And again, I would just twist this again like that. And then I would have my wire in here and pull it up through there. And there are plenty of videos online too from the Bodabra lady who can give you more tips on what I'm able to give you, because I'm trying to keep this short. Anyway, so there you see how that bow can be really, really pretty. So, does anybody have any questions on how I did this? I would probably just take my bow, and what I could do, remember I have those pieces of wire here. I could just go ahead and tie it right onto here, this part, like that. And again, you could put anything you want to on here. And I think the beauty of using the removable vinyl is I could go ahead and change this then if I want to for something for Valentine's Day. And I'd probably cut these a little smaller, maybe at angles. So I think it turned out really cute. Can you see it? When I hold it like that, it pops the bow up funny, but the bow looks in my cameras. Here, I'll hold it up like this. Anyway, I think it turned out really cute. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Thanks, Tina. Let's see. Oh yeah, hopefully you guys gave me a thumbs up. I see Nightbot said that. Thanks, Stephanie. Oh, thank you, Chow. Thanks, Donna. Have you guys made these before? This is my first, as I said. Character map. Okay, I'm looking back now and I see that Chow said it's called a character map. What else? How do you, oh, Diana, you mean if you are using the designs, or here, I'll show you. All right, here's how you do it. Diana had said, okay, if I'm using a Cricut machine, how do I transfer this design to Cricut? Easy peasy, let me show you. So let's go back up to up here. Here's the design I have, right? And yeah, so what I would probably do for this one first, before I send it, make it as an SVG, I would probably go ahead and grab it like this, right click and say make compound path. It's going to change it to blue. I don't really care, but if I want it to be black, I could change it back to black over here in the design area. So I could change it back to black. All right, to save this for Cricut Design Space then, all you have to do is grab it, because I don't want to save all of this stuff for Design Space. So what I would do is grab this and go File, Save Selection. I only want to save the stuff that I selected just now. So I would say Save Selection to my hard drive. So again, anything we make here, we save on our computer. It's not saved in Cricut Design Space or in Cricut. You can send this, via email to Tammy. You could put it on a website. You could, share it with anybody. Anything you make like this. But I would save it to my hard drive, and I'll name this Jean Freda Tinkerbell for Cricut. And here's the trick. If you're saving it as an SVG for Cricut or as a file for Cricut, you have to make sure you save it as an SVG. If you accidentally just save it as a silhouette file, it will not work. So you could go SVG. I'm saving it in my downloads. Jean Freda Tinkerbell for Cricut. Just say OK. Okay, now I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space. Let's go to New, Replace, and I'm going to go to Upload, Upload an image, Browse. It was in my downloads. It was called Jean Freda something. Jean Freda. No, what's it called? Was it called Tinkerbell for Jean Freda? This is the hardest part, right? Remembering what you named it as. Jean Freda. Oh, it should be an SVG, so it should look like one of these. Jean Freda Tinkerbell for Cricut. Yay, here it is. So I'll click on that and open it. And there it is. It comes in just like that. I'll say save it. And click on it to open it. Insert it. And there it is. The only thing you'll have to make sure you do is change its size, because look, right now it's a little over 2 inches by 2 inches. So I'd make it bigger. And that's it. You just go ahead and cut it just like this. But the beauty, again, of having Silhouette Business Edition for your Cricut machine is you would not have been able to put an offset on this. You would not have been able to create your own SVG. So again, over here in Silhouette, we found a picture of Tinkerbell. We found one we liked. We made it an SVG. It was just a picture. It wasn't anything. This is still on here? Yeah, there it is. It was just this. There's no way you could cut this. I had to make it as an SVG. Sometimes, now if it's just a black outline like this, you'll probably be able to do that in Cricut Design Space by using the tool and selecting and erasing the outer edges. But you won't be able to change the text and add an offset to it. And that's one of the things that we really like about this program, is adding offsets to everything. So yeah, it's just a one-time fee. It's about $48, I think. Once you buy it, you own it. It's yours to keep forever and ever, and everything that you make as well. So, did you guys have any other questions? I'm going to look over here at my iPad again to see. Put it in front of me. Software. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Nidra. Glad you liked it. Yes, I hope you have an awesome week too, Deborah. So did you guys say, I gotta look back and see, did anybody also make these already? Thought I saw somebody said they did. Nidra, oh, you made one for Christmas. Cool. Oh, I'd like to see a picture of it. Oh, don't forget, you guys, too, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, please join the Facebook group. Let me see if I can find a picture for the one for you. Here we go. Okay. You'll want to join this one if you're not a member of it, Cutting Up with PattyAnne. It's, let's see, it's in the groups. It's groups and Cutting Up with PattyAnne, because we talk some about using the Silhouette software in there. And then, of course, if you do belong to our Patreon class, make sure that you guys are involved in the secret Silhouette group. One last thing, Chow, you had asked if we were going to, or if I was going to do the card thing. Yes, I've been working on that. Remember yesterday, those of you in the Silhouette Patreon class, in our Facebook group, I gave you this to work on as a practice just for fun. So I decided to use this same image that I made into the SVG, and I turned it into my first practice card for this. This is the paper sketch that's coming up, and those of you who belong to the Facebook group that's Cutting Up with PattyAnne, you can do this as well. This is the one that is next, and this is what I've come up with so far. Obviously, this would probably be a print and cut because I don't have all these papers, and I got these in the patterns over here. So this would be a print and cut, but I'm going to work on it and see if I can figure out one that I could actually cut as well. So, and by the way, if you're wondering how in the world you do this, you guys probably know that are in the Silhouette group. Easy peasy. If you make a rectangle and you want it to look sort of shaped like this, as if it's a K, all you have to do is double click on your rectangle that you made, get you a node and pull it in, move it wherever you need it to be, and there you have the K just like that. And change it to any color you want. And what I had done was I came over here to the paint palette, to the patterns, and I like this pattern right there. I thought that was pretty. So, all right, so that's it. Thanks again very much for joining me. I have some really cute things that Jean Freda told me are coming up. And I know they're going to be way outside my comfort zone again. But you know what? It's good for me. Good for all of us. So, again, you did one. Oh, you did one already? Did one what? You made one of these glass things, Chow? Oh, Chow, you already got number 5. You rascal. Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Silhouette app. That would be interesting, but there's just so much that you can do with this program. Thanks, Nightbot. Okay. Sketch. Oh, you already did sketch 5. Well, I'll put this one up online as soon as I get off here, and then you can put yours in the comments below it so we can see. Or did you already show it? Don't show it yet. Yes, Tammy's referring to some free digi stamps. That's another thing that you can do if you have this version of the Silhouette software, that you can make your own things for your Cricut machine. So let's see, for example, let me show you really quickly. Okay, here we go. So I saw this one this morning from the link that Tammy was showing me. Look at this cute thing right here, right? This is a free digi stamp. So I can right click on this maybe. I'm going to try it. Copy image. I'm going to see what happens. It might be messed so I can't paste. Nope, that won't work. Okay, so let me delete that. So what I'd have to do is download this image. But the cool thing about it is, and I've already registered, I don't want to go through all this right now though, but the cool thing about it, let me just go to another image and show you. Again, say I wanted to do this Tinkerbell, right? That's a bad one, I mean. Okay, let's pretend this is a better image. I'm going to right click on him and copy him, and then come over here to Silhouette, right click and paste. So there he is, and this is just one more beautiful thing about this program. I don't have to buy SVGs ever again. All I have to do is come over here to the trace panel, looks like toast, select the trace area. Now note, mind you, this isn't a very good image to use because it was kind of jaggedy looking, but it's not great, but it'll work okay. I'm going to up the threshold just a little bit and say trace, and I can get rid of this, and then I would be able to color this individually, so I can use vinyl for it or cardstock for it, or I could just have made it into a a print then cut by doing this. Trace the image again. Once I have a good trace on it, I can just say trace and detach. And then what I'm left with is this guy right here. And I could get rid of this line down here. So I want to delete that line, but I won't worry about that right now because this is just real quickie. I'm going to go ahead and click on this to highlight it, and then I'm going to say offset it. That's probably going to be messed up because of this line down here. Pretend that line's not there. And the reason why I like to add an offset is if I'm making something for a card or I'm making a sticker, it's not going to cut right up here against this. It's going to cut along the offset no matter whatever size I want it to be. So there, whoops, there's his offset. And if I group that together and I went to print then cut him, it would print and then it would cut around the offset. Pardon me. Okay. I guess I better go. I was starting to cough, probably from all this glitter. So thanks again for joining me. See you all again soon. Bye-bye.